evening, everyone. How are we all doing? I don't know why the banner's like that. We'll remove that. Anyway, welcome back to another stream on the channel. It's been a week away, and weirdly, there hasn't really been too much transfer news. But we're gonna wrap up the last week or so today and look at the latest rumours around Leicester City. Obviously, Leicester are back in pre-season training. The lads are out in Evian in France, and pre-season does in fact begin on Saturday when we play Villarreal, and I believe it's behind closed doors friendly. But yeah, lots to go through tonight. We're going to be starting things off discussing Matias Soule. It looks like he won't be coming to Leicester after weeks of negotiations. Then we'll look at Alexis Saelemaekers. Yeah, I'm bad with names, but yeah, that man from Bologna who's gone back to AC Milan on loan. We'll discuss him. So, and we'll go through the other stuff as well. There's been a couple of rumours around Oliver Skip. And stuff like that. So yeah, lots to go through tonight. But let's start off with Matias Soule. Just before we do, drop a like on the stream, get involved in the chat, and yeah, we will get on with tonight's show. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just going to quickly sort this banner out because it's don't know why it's gone like that. Give me a second. Professional as always. Bang that out. There we go, easy. So yeah, obviously this was going on for a few weeks. Attacking midfielder from Argentina, bright spark. Is about 30 million, which for me does seem quite steep for someone this experienced. And it does look like he's off to Roma. He doesn't want to come to England, which I don't blame him really, because if you got the choice between Leicester and Roma to live in, I think we'll all decide the same one. But yeah, obviously there was several rumours. Obviously, this is mainly from the Italian press, but it does look like it's a fairly reliable story. And yeah, I believe this deal is done, which is a shame, but it's one of them really. It is a big risk to take, and someone like Saelemaekers could be a better option. Just a bit more on that story. This is also from an Italian journalist on the translation. So yeah, AS Roma submitted its official offer to Juventus for Matias Soule, strengthened by the agreement with the player. 25 million including bonuses. All details tomorrow. So yeah, pretty much he's off to Roma instead of Leicester, which is a bit of a shame, but I don't blame the player at all. But it's good to see Leicester going out and trying to get these obviously young players who are a bit off the cuff. But I think someone like Saelemaekers, who Leicester are heavily linked with, could be someone who's a bit more reliable, bit more experienced, and which could probably suit us better in the Premier League for next season. But yeah, let me know thoughts on Matias Soule in the chat. Shame, but yeah, I think it's one which is probably gonna go away from us, and I think the price tag itself is quite strong. But people saying Leicester don't have money. I think the price tag tells you everything, really. Like Leicester are going for a player at this age for about 30 million. So I believe Leicester do have some pretty good money in the bank, but it's just a case of how we spend that money in terms of FFP and PSR and all that rubbish. Obviously, there's still not been an update in terms of the points deduction. So I guess we're going to be waiting for a few more weeks on that one. Obviously, the season is just about a month away. But yeah, that's it on Matias Soule. Obviously, don't want to discuss him too much because it doesn't look like he's going to be a Leicester City player. But let's move on to Alexis Saelemaekers. This man is someone who I'd like to see us go for. Very experienced. Was on loan at Bologna last season with Victor Christensen, so that could potentially help us. Leicester and Nottingham Forest are both interested in the winger. Obviously, he's at AC Milan right now. I believe he used to be, week in week out for Milan. Obviously, played for Bologna, like I said, last season they got Champions League. So yeah, very very good player. We'll get into stats and whatnot in a minute, but yeah, he played loads of games out there last season. I think it's about 30 games. Plays off the right hand side. He's not the most productive winger, but works very hard, which I think is why Leicester are interested in him. But yeah, this is also once again, this is from the Italian press, I do believe. But yeah, Leicester have put in a bid. It's I think it's around 10 million to 15 million, something along those lines. So obviously, it is a much cheaper option than someone like Matias Soule, which is why I think Leicester will probably go for him. I think in terms of Saelemaekers, is probably the backup option, but I think this could be a very decent deal indeed. Am I connected to the AirPods? I don't know. Someone just let me know in the chat if you can hear me all right, because my AirPods just beeped and I don't know if they've gone off or not. But yeah, in terms of the deal, obviously it's been going on for a few days now. negotiations are still ongoing, so that's positive to see. Obviously, the Soule deal was going on for a long time as well, and that broke down, so things can obviously change quite quickly in football. And obviously, we all know how the Italian teams like to operate. Absolute pain in the arse, really, to try and sign from. So, yeah, this could be one which drags on for quite a while, but I believe AC Milan do want to sell him. It could be a case of does he go back to Bologna or not. Obviously, like I said, he was on loan there last season, but they've got a new manager, so it is a complicated one in terms of that. And like I said, Victor Christensen could have a part to play in the deal. Obviously, Caleb Akoli was looking to bring Soule to Leicester. They were at the same club last season in Veronese, I think it is. So, yeah, I think the players can have a part to play in terms of the transfers, but I think this one we'll have to wait and see. But there is some definite interest from Leicester, which is a positive. And like I said, yeah, just a case of waiting. But yeah, the chat is awfully quiet tonight, boys. What's going on? Yeah, let's get into some more of the analysis then on the player, what type of player we can expect. From Saelemaekers, like I said, multiple times he was on loan at Bologna last season. He's been at Milan, he's been at Anderlecht. But yeah, for me, he's played a lot of games. He played 30 games last season, 21 starts. So he's a very reliable player. His market value is about 12 million, which he's probably a bit wrong, but I think realistically you're probably going to be paying about 15 million or so for Saelemaekers. He's 25 years old, so he's not like he's old or anything. He's going to be getting into his prime years. And like I said, had a very good season last season for Bologna, getting into the Champions League. I think the key thing here is probably his dribbling is quite high. 4.51 dribbles attempted per 90, which is quite high for a winger. Cooper does like his wingers to be quite direct. Obviously, Fatawu has finally been announced. I forgot to mention that somehow. And obviously, Steffi provides some, he's very direct as well, which I think is going to be a key characteristic of us. I think this is probably the main reason why Leicester and Cooper are interested in him. Is due to his defensive work rate, really, his tackles, interceptions, ground duels, that type of thing. And for a winger, for Steve Cooper, these type of abilities are very important. And let's be honest, Leicester are going to be defending more times than we're attacking this season. So I think if Leicester can be as strong as we can defensively, we've got a good chance at winning games. So yeah, I think that is key, and it's a good thing to see. In terms of his injuries, they're not too bad. 7 days. He has a 14-day injury there, so we're getting someone who isn't on the floor crying every game here and there. So overall, I'm liking the look of this guy. He's very experienced. He's played at the top level. He's played for AC in Milan. So he must be half decent, surely, if he's played for the Rossoneri. But yeah, once again, just like I said, I think it's just a case of waiting to see what happens in terms of Saelemaekers. Belgium international as well, by the way, 25 years old, as I've said, and plays on the right-hand side usually, but can kind of drift inside midfield and get the flexibility in that from attacking 4 or 5, you could say, around that one. But yeah, let's move on then to some other news, some bit more rogue stuff, but I think it's worth covering if I can find it. So the first one is Oliver Skipp from Tottenham. Now this is an interesting one. This is coming from Sky Sports, so reliable, or as reliable as it gets. So yeah, Leicester among the clubs who like Oliver Skipp, but his crucial homegrown status in Tottenham squad makes a transfer unlikely at the moment. Although he needs regular game time at this point of his career. So yeah, this would be a very tricky one to get done. But I think Leicester are definitely looking for a midfielder, especially after Dewsbury left. Obviously, we've got no Dennis Pratt. Still unknown on the future of the players like Boubakary Samari, who obviously is back with the team, but does he have a future at Leicester? Who knows? So I think someone like Oliver Skipp could be a tidy little bit of business for us. Just like I said here, doesn't play regularly for Tottenham, but it's a player who Tottenham are probably want to go. He's probably going to want to keep hold of just for rotation, and obviously that homegrown status is key. So, but yeah, I think in terms of Skipp himself, he'd be open to a move to Leicester. You want to play regular football, and he's potentially got a place in this side. So it'd be an interesting one to keep your eye on. Obviously, there's been no bid or any talks, but just interest at the moment. It's weird because a few weeks ago we had, the whole, we made like 3 signings or in a matter of a week, and since then it's just gone a bit quiet. So I think Leicester have tried to get the bulk of their business done before we went out to Evian and properly started our pre-season. So for me, I could probably see us only making another 2 signings, two to three potentially, maybe a loan or something like that in there. So I think at this point, Cooper's got the vast majority of the squad out there getting ready for pre-season. Obviously, we've got a few games away. Pre-season officially does start in terms of playing games on Saturday when we play Villarreal in a behind closed doors friendly. So it'd be interesting if we can know the score and how we got on in that one. Then obviously. We've got a few more games coming up. We're playing Palmero in Chesterfield, which makes no sense whatsoever. Obviously, we've got the trips to Lens. We're playing Augsburg in Germany as well. Some interesting pre-season games for Leicester. But yeah, I think the bulk of our business is probably done, and we're just trying to get a few players, and not trying to rush things through the door. Talking of midfielders, another player who's been linked to Leicester is this man from Brazil, Richard Rios. Least Brazilian first name you've ever seen in your life. But he's one of them. He's from Palmeiras, so there's a few players that come out there who go on to do some good stuff. But 15 to 20 million, I won't lie to you. Don't have a Scooby Doo if he's good or not. I've had a few people say he's good, but then again, if he plays there, people just probably assume he's good because he's from Brazil. But I think it's quite clear to see that Leicester are going to try and target a midfielder. In terms of Matias Soule, obviously he was a player who could play in midfield as well, and potentially in that number 10 role as well. So I think it's evident that Leicester are looking in that area. And in my opinion, I'll be very surprised if our next signing isn't a player who can play in that midfielder spot. So let's get into the chat. Riley's in there. What happened to Soule? He just wants to go to Roma pretty much. Obviously, Leicester were interested. I think Juventus wanted to sell to Leicester instead of Roma for obvious reasons. But I don't think Soule is too keen on the move to Leicester right now, which I don't really blame him because I think living in Rome is slightly better than living in Leicester. Hope he is another test. I'd be very surprised if he did join us. In terms of the source, don't really know him. So I think this one is just a case of it's a bit of a random rumor, but you never know, these things can progress. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think the most concrete link in terms of transfers right now is Saelemaekers. So we'll just we'll see if that develops in the coming days. Just like I said, Forest are also interested. So obviously they've been in the Premier League for a bit longer than us recently. So would you prefer a move there? You don't know, but interesting. Away from players then, obviously the home kit got released, and the away kit, or the third kit, or whatever this monstrosity is, has also been leaked. So this is going to be, I believe it's the away kit. I'm not too sure, but it's one of the thirds. And in my opinion, it's just a bit of a, I don't really know. It's just a bit random, innit? I mean, Adidas, just get rid of them. Their kits they're all right, but they're just so basic every single year. You see, like the Arsenal got the Lynx Africa kit. Now, like we get this like gradient black and pink orange thing. It's weird, but this will be one of the kits. I think what the other one is going to be kind of like a white strip. So in terms of kits this year, nothing too special from Adidas, but that is going to be one of them. That has been leaked. Some dodgy fake probably in Turkey are selling that. Eden, buddy, is there any news on O'Reilly? Haven't heard anything, but if Soule is rejected, Leicester clearly have the funds, so maybe Leicester could go in for someone like Matt O'Reilly, but haven't seen too much. He's been linked to Atalanta recently, so I think he's definitely got options. It's just a case of if Leicester can pay the funds and if he wants to come to us, which. But I think realistically that one is going to be quite unlikely. Caleb, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing all right. 100%, yeah. I think he'd be a fantastic player for us. Just like I said, I think Leicester will definitely be targeting a midfielder. So he's definitely one who'll be on the radar, but it could be, it could be a difficult one, because if he's got offers from Champions League clubs, he's probably going to want to go there. And obviously, he's a very tidy player, but if he wants to get some experience in the Premier League, Leicester could potentially be the club for him. Oliver Skip is joining us. Maybe. I think that one will be a tough one to get over the line. Be dependent on if Tottenham want to sell. I think Skip would definitely want to join us. But yeah, like I said, he's a homegrown player. Tottenham could stick a hefty price on him, really, when he's a decent player. Obviously, he's not world class or anything like that, but he'd be a nice little squad player with some experience for us, which should be decent. He's not joining. I think it's because it's 100%. Yeah, I did see that Casper going to Celtic, linking up with Brendan, which would be an interesting one. Obviously, there was some reports of them two falling out, but we need another good signing. Yeah, I think Leicester will get another two through the door at least. Just a case of waiting right now. Cooper's probably gonna have a better idea by the end of this week, going into next week, at which players he wants to keep and sell. The players like Samare, etc. Obviously, there's a few players who are still yet to join the squad, and like Fazi and Vestergaard, Christensen, Mads Hermansen, etc. So wait for them. But yeah, I think the squad does need to be slightly trimmed first, and then we'll probably bring some players in. But obviously, we've still got just over a month to go until the first game. So yeah, it feels like this summer's dragged on for so long, and we're still about 30 days away from that Tottenham game. But yeah, can you see Christensen sticking around? I'd love him to. It's tough, really. Also, Christensen's not back yet at Leicester, so it's still very unknown. I think in terms of him going back to Bologna, I can't see that happening because they haven't got Motta anymore. So, but yeah, I don't think he really enjoyed his time too much at Leicester. But maybe this could be, his kind of second stint for us, and potentially kind of like a fresh signing, because I really thought Christensen did quite well for us in his limited time in the first couple of games he played. So I'd definitely be open to it, but I think we get a better idea in terms of that with the formation we do play in these first few preseason games. Like I said a million times, I'll be very surprised if it isn't a back three or a five, but if it's a back four, I'll be very. I could probably see Christensen going, because I think he's made for that kind of wing back role. And if he's mainly a left back, I think defensively we've probably got better options. Well, Chloe, Madison back. I wish. Still haven't found a replacement for KDH. Yeah, I think Leicester are definitely looking. It's one where we don't want to rush it. So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned in that area right now. And if Leicester do play something like a 5-3-2 or something like that, the midfield is going to be fairly slim. So it could potentially be a two-man midfield. And if Cooper is a fan of Samara, we've got some depth there as well. And obviously Wilfred Ndidi has extended at Leicester, so we've got another man kind of coming in. Well, technically Wilfred Ndidi is a new signing for Leicester, but obviously he has finally extended his contract, and obviously we got Fatawu through the door. So I think Leicester kind of focused on getting players in, and then the week after sorting out Fatawu and getting the contracts done for Ndidi and that type of thing as well. So I think next up for Leicester will be trimming that squad, because I do think it is quite big, especially if you look at the goalkeepers. You've got Iverson, who's probably he's probably going to want to leave. You got Danny Ward, who should leave, but no one's going to sign him. So and obviously you got players like Harry Sutar and whatnot, with Caleb Akodi coming in. Be interesting to see what his future holds as well. Do you think the Brazilian player is a replacement for Dewsbury Hall? Right now, no, but you never know. I think there's only been one kind of discussion from a journalist on it. So if there is more discussions, maybe. But I think getting a Brazilian into the squad, I believe he is Brazilian, I'm just assuming that because he's from their league. But yeah, I think it is a fairly risky one. I would like to see Leicester potentially bring someone in who's got a bit more experience, but we'd have to wait and see. Obviously, our last Brazilian wasn't too good, was he? I don't think Tete was Brazilian, but anyway, Saturday should be a test for the boys. Indeed, it is a good opponent. Obviously, the last time we played Villarreal, that was an interesting one to say the least. Hopefully, there's no leg breaks on Saturday. Obviously, it is behind closed doors though, which is a shame. Obviously, I don't think we'll be able to watch any of it, but hopefully there is a report or something after, where we'll obviously know what happens. Then obviously we got Shrewsbury on Tuesday, which should be the first time we can watch Cooper Ball. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Martin Braithwaite? Yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't say no because he's a free agent, but I think his wages would be quite high. But then again, I think it's a case of seeing what happens, because right now we've got Vardy, Daka, and Tom Cannon. I think if Leicester were to bring in someone like Braithwaite, one of them would have to potentially go. But then again, Cooper does sometimes play two up top with a bigger man, so Braithwaite could potentially be the option. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a I don't know, weird one. Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? He's a free agent, so there's not too much to lose. But I think his wages could be quite high. So I won't be surprised, but there has been some talks. But I think with him being a free agent, there'll be loads of clubs who are after him, so it'll be tough to get him. Yeah, Alves got Sammy Braybrook as well, who are all options. But for me, it's just a case of are they ready for Premier League? You obviously got Golding as well, who's joined us, who's been involved in the preseason training so far in the first team, which is good to see. You go into any of the preseason games at the minute? No. So I'm trying to. I'm saving up for the main season really. I was going to go to Lens, but the only way to get there is like Eurostar, and it's just long, and it's just not long, but it's spenny. So yeah, probably not. But I might. I might. Tough. Yeah, very tough. Obviously, 19th of August from the 18th of July. It's still a month. This has been the longest summer I've ever had. Without less, because obviously the last game of the championship was May the 4th. So yeah, it's been an absolute age has this season to wait. But yeah, boys, I think we've pretty much covered anything. If you've got any final talking points, feel free to let me know in the chat. I'm just gonna have a quick look on Twitter just to see if there is any fresh rumours which have come through tonight. Sometimes you do get the odd one which pops through in the evening, so let's have a quick look at that. But I don't think there will be. Leicester's leading performance analyst has left us, so that is some news. But yeah, in terms of that, there's been nothing else today apart from Oliver Skip and the Brazilian midfielder. Longest summer ever it has. Is Alves a winger or a midfielder? Probably a bit of. I'll probably say a bit of both. He can play in a 10, and then I think he drifts in from out wide. So, but yeah, I think anywhere across that front three, Alves could probably do a decent job. But I think for someone at his age, you could, still get moulded into potentially a different position. But someone like Cooper could work wonders with someone like Will Alves for Leicester City this window. This season, sorry. I'm so used to transfers, but update on Alexis on Saelemaekers. Leicester are in discussions. I think I think we've made a bid potentially, or the asking price is about the same with us and AC Milan. So I think it's just a case of waiting if we hear anything else on that one. It's been reported heavily in the Italian press, but we haven't heard anything from obviously like Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, or John Percy, or anyone like that. But I think Saelemaekers right now is the closest to being signed. If anyone was going to join Leicester, I'd say he's the most likely right now, but I still think it is quite a long way away. But I don't think Milan really wants him this season, so I think a sale could definitely be on. So yeah, I think he's a player who could come in for Leicester, experienced. As Christensen did well last season, got Bologna into the Champions League, which is a massive achievement. No one talks about it really, but it's crazy how they've managed to get into the Champions League in Italy, obviously last season. 15 million, much better price option than someone like Soule. And pretty much, he's a workhorse winger, which I think suits Cooper's system to an absolute T. But yeah, hopefully we get some update in the next couple of weeks, potentially over the weekend on Saelemaekers. But in terms of that, Leicester, I assume will be putting a bid in or something like that, because obviously we put numerous bids in for Soule. We were trying to reach the bonuses. At one point, it looked like Leicester was set to get him, but Soule then originally said he was open to coming us, and now suddenly doesn't. So yeah, it looks like he's off to Roma, but obviously there's been no here we go or anything like that. So you never know. There could be another twist in the transfer story, but I think it's very unlikely. I think it's an 80-20% chance in Roma's favour on that front. But yeah. What happened to Sammy Braybrook? Where does he play? It's kind of a similar position, a slight bit deeper. I do believe in midfield, but yeah, he's predominantly an 8 or 10 in that midfielder area. But he could definitely be an option once again for Leicester. This season, obviously, if you cast your minds back to the Birmingham game, we had a few youngsters playing in that one. Brandon Clover, Arjun Raki, I think it was. So I have to see if they get involved. There's a few others as well. So also still players like Wanya Marcel. I think a loan could be on for him as well. So we are getting quite winger heavy. Still got players like Casey McAteer, who obviously started last season on absolute fire and kind of drifted away. Came back in towards the end. So it'd be interesting to see his potential game time next season. If Cooper rates him or not, but I think a loan for him could be on to the Championship potentially, especially if Leicester go out and sign another winger, especially now with Fatawu secured finally on a permanent. Obviously, Leicester's new number 7. Hopefully, he can break that curse. But I have to see. What happened to Soule? Yeah, it can change his mind, obviously, but I think it's quite unlikely. But then again, Leicester do hold some sort of power because Juventus don't want to sell to Roma. So, if Soule does, open up to it in the end, I can't see that happening. But if he did, could still potentially happen. But as far as I'm concerned, look, he's about £30 million. Yes, he's a nice young attacking talent, but a few weeks ago, not many people heard of him, and now lots of Leicester fans are like kind of begging us to get him, which I think 30 million is very steep on someone like him, but then again, he obviously could be someone big in the future. But I think in terms of this window, we just need to focus on getting players who are a bit more proven. In terms of someone like Saelemaekers, who for me is could be a very good signing for us. Obviously, we've done that so far with Decordova Reed, and then we obviously got a few youngsters in Golding and Caleb Okoli. So yeah, it's just a case of waiting to see at the minute. But finally, Leicester will be back in action in the next week or so with the pre-season games, Villarreal, and then we're off to the beautiful town, I think it is, Shrewsbury City, I don't think so, Shrewsbury on Tuesday night, where we'll be able to touch Cooper Ball for the first time, which will be an interesting one, because obviously last year, pre-season was actually quite interesting, because obviously we saw Maresca Ball for the first time, and it was completely different. And to be fair to Cooper, he said in a few interviews now he's not going to try and change too much from last season. So we could see some more possession compared to his very defensive Forest team in the last 2 seasons when he was at the City ground. But in terms of Cooper, obviously when he was at Forest, when they won the Championship, he did play some very high octane possession stuff. So it could be a case of him trying to revert back to that and potentially just make it a bit more secure compared to what we played last season. Because obviously last season we were quite open defensively, but yeah, it's a case of waiting to see as we get ready for that first game of the season at the King Power against Tottenham. Then obviously we've got some quite winnable games after that, so I think it's very important we start this season off as best as we can and try and get some points on the board. Obviously, we've got the trip to Fulham. Then it's Aston Villa at home, which will be a tough game. 2 tough home games to start the season. And then I think the international break is after 3 games, which is a bit of a shame. Then it's Crystal Palace away. So then first 4, if we can, try and get 5 points or something around that, 4 points, try and get at least 1 win on the board. I think that'll put us in a decent position to start off. In an ideal world, obviously you push for somewhere at 8 or 9, but yeah, I think obviously next season is going to be a tough one. Obviously, what's Cooper's formation? We'll have to wait and see, but pretty much you've got a 5 at the back, and from then it's fairly flexible. Sometimes it's kind of a 3-4-3, something like that. Obviously, that goes into more of a 5 defensively. But yeah, like I said, I'd be very surprised if he didn't play a back 5, but when he did play a back 4, it was just a typical 4-3-3 kind of system, which was similar to what we did last year. Obviously, there won't be any inverted fullbacks. Well, I don't think so. But yeah, if Cooper did go with a back 4, it would just be a standard 4-4-3-3. And I think obviously our players suit that system to a T, especially with the wingers. But I think it's very important we do play with the width we've got. 'Cause I think in terms of our wide players, they're probably the best in the squad. Obviously, you've got Ricardo Pereira at right back, who's going to be bombing up and down. You've got Justin Christensen on the left-hand side, depending on if Christian stays. Obviously, the wingers, we all know how good Fatawu and Steffi are. So, yeah. We have more wingers not spending Vardy's. What in terms of striker? Yeah, I think a striker is definitely needed. And I think our next two players who Leicester will bring in, if we do, will probably be a midfielder and a striker, as far as I'm concerned. I'm potentially another winger, but that depends on if Cooper rates the likes of Wendy Marcel and whatnot. But yeah, I think a lot will be revealed within the next couple of weeks. But yeah, boys, the countdown to the first game, in my opinion, is now well and truly on. Pre-season is here. The Euros are over. Club football is finally on the way back. If you have enjoyed today's stream, make sure to go and drop a like, subscribe as well to the channel for some regular Leicester content. Obviously, come back from a holiday, so regular content. We'll be back. Sadly, there won't be any streams for the next 2 nights because I'm at work. I always get given night shifts, which is a pain in the arse. But yeah, we'll be back on Sunday for another stream. If there's any breaking news, there'll be a couple of videos going out as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for getting involved in the chat tonight. Much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, the Leicester and yeah, finally club football is slowly on the way back.